Hello, welcome to Naked Expat channel. Today's topic is one that every foreign man living in the Philippines with a Filipina girlfriend absolutely must understand. Especially if you're living together, sharing money, buying property, having children, or quietly pretending you're basically married anyway. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The Philippines does not recognise common law marriage. Not after 5 years, not after 10 years, not after 25 years. Not even if the entire barangay already calls you husband. And yet, Philippine law will absolutely step in when things go wrong. Especially when money, property, children, or a legal wife back home in your home country are involved. So today, we're breaking down what cohabitation actually means under Philippine law, the exact difference between Article 147 and Article 148 of the Family Code, what happens to your home, your money, your pension, your kids, and why a lot of expats are quietly walking into legal landmines wearing flip-flops and rose-tinted glasses. And yes, I'll be using real-world scenarios you'll recognise instantly. Let's get into it. Let's kill the first myth immediately. In the Philippines, living together for 5 years does not make you legally married. Living together for 20 years does not make you legally married. Having kids together does not make you legally married. Being introduced as husband at every fiesta does not make you legally married. You are either legally married under Philippine law or you are legally strangers. There is no in-between status. Now, people often say, but we're common law. No, you're not. You're cohabiting, and that puts you under Article 147 or 148 of the Family Code, not marriage law. Which one applies to you depends on one brutal detail. Are both of you legally free to marry? Let's break this open. Article 147 of the Family Code applies if you're both legally single. You're single, she's single. You have no legal impediments stopping either of you getting married. In this case, the law says any properties acquired during the relationship through your joint effort are presumed to be 50-50 co-owned. That includes salary, business income, assets, even contributions through stay-at-home domestic care. So yes, housekeeping and giving you a little massage is legally treated as financial contribution. Now here's where foreign men start to panic. If you buy a home in her name during cohabitation, if you build a business in her name during cohabitation, if you fund construction, vehicles, investments, or anything else during cohabitation, the law presumes it is jointly owned unless you prove otherwise. And if you split up, you are entitled to your share. You can sue for reconveyance and you can demand your portion. But you must be able to prove your financial contribution. Cash under the mattress does not count as proof. Moving on to Article 148 of the Family Code is relevant if one of you is still legally married. Now this is where things get nuclear. Article 148 applies when one of you is still legally married, or both of you are, or there is any legal barrier to you getting married. And yes, this quietly includes many foreign men who never finalised their divorce back home. Under Article 148 of the Philippine Family Code, only property acquired through actual joint financial contribution is co-owned. Ownership is proportional to what you can prove. There is no presumption of 50-50. Household work does not get included as a contribution. And here's the big one. If you acted in bad faith, your share can be forfeited, meaning your proportion can go to her or her children, or your legal spouse, or all of the above. There was also a real Philippine Supreme Court case, Mahor versus Banasa, where a man who financially supported a woman for 25 years was able to prove co-ownership because of his remittances. The lesson here, paper trail equals survival. Now, what about the foreigner property illusion? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Foreigners cannot own land in the Philippines, yet somehow thousands of foreigners are buying homes, owning land, investing in girlfriends' properties, putting everything in her name, and then saying, "It's fine, I trust her." Yeah, and many men trusted their ex-wives too. Under Philippine law, the title in her name is legally hers. Your money funding it does not make you the owner. At best, you have a claim, not ownership. If things collapse, you must prove contribution. You must file in Philippine court, and you must survive years of litigation. And if either of you were still legally married elsewhere, welcome to Article 148 hell. With regards to children, this is where it gets really serious. Children born to cohabiting couples are classified as illegitimate under Philippine law. That doesn't mean they're unloved, unwanted, or unsupported, but legally they receive only half the inheritance of legitimate children. They are still entitled to full child support. The mother has sole parental authority by default. The father has very limited rights. And here's where expats get hit really hard. If you die without a will, your girlfriend does not automatically inherit. Your child only gets an illegitimate share. Your legal heirs overseas can legally take over. Yes, even if they've never met your partner or your child. There is no automatic inheritance for live-in partners. Let me make this painfully clear. Your Filipino girlfriend has zero automatic right to your estate, unless you are legally married or you have a valid Philippine will, which I always recommend. Watch some of my other videos about having a Philippine will for Philippine assets and an international will for offshore assets. Without a will, your estate goes to legal children or legal parents or legal spouse or blood relatives. Your partner gets nothing except where she can legally prove anything that was co-owned. And no, Facebook relationship status is not a legal document. Now let's look at adultery, concubinage and legal nightmares. Let's go very dark. If you are legally married still abroad and cohabitating here in the Philippines, your legal spouse abroad can file adultery, file concubinage, file civil damages, seek separation of property and freeze foreign joint finances tied to marital assets. And your Filipino partner, she can also be legally charged. This is not internet rumour. These cases exist. They happen quietly and they destroy lives. The deadliest scenario is when your Filipino partner has a husband who finds out about you. Now we arrive at the most dangerous and most deliberately ignored reality for foreign men in the Philippines. Cohabitating with a Filipina who is still legally married to a Filipino man. This is not just a paperwork issue. This is not just a legal issue. This is a personal safety issue. And yes, it has actually gotten men killed. You meet a Filipina and she tells you, "Oh, we're already separated, just not on paper, in court or in reality. It's totally over between us, except for the legal marriage part. He's a womanizer, which somehow magically nullifies the marriage. He already has another woman, so apparently I'm allowed a foreign sponsor. We've been apart for a long time, but still very much married under law, and some or all of this is true. But under Philippine law, if there is no annulment, they are still legally married, which means, as far as the Filipino man is concerned, he is still the legal husband. He still has full standing in court. He still has criminal leverage. He still has civil leverage. And in extreme cases, he still has emotional, cultural and terminal rage on his side. Now here is the part no one wants to say out loud. There are Filipino men who are involved with other women themselves, have multiple relationships, have abandoned their marriage emotionally. But when they find out a foreigner has moved in with their legal wife, all of a sudden they become the publicly betrayed husband, the humiliated man, the wounded ego, the legal victim, the man who believes honour has been taken from him. And this is where things turn financially, legally, and sometimes violently catastrophic. There is a widespread myth that if he kills them in a crime of passion, he won't go to jail. This is dangerously misunderstood. Murder is still murder in the Philippines. There is no automatic immunity for killing a spouse and her lover. There was no guaranteed reduced sentence. However, emotional shock or provocation can be considered in sentencing, which isn't exoneration, but it does count. This means that some may serve very few years, but not normally 0. But this is cold comfort if you're already dead. However, the spouse may not serve time if, and this is a key consideration, a legally married person must surprise their spouse in the act of sexual intercourse with another person and then kill them both in the act or immediately thereafter. Usually it doesn't come to this. Usually when a foreigner is involved, there's some sort of financial extortion. The legal husband can file concubinage, file adultery, file civil damages, demand financial compensation, threaten public exposure, weaponize barangay pressure, leverage police intimidation, and force settlements under the threat of charges. And suddenly you, the foreigner, discover that you have no marital protection, you have no family backup, you have limited legal leverage, and your only shield becomes how much you can throw at the problem. This is not romance, this is legalised extortion wrapped in wounded male pride. And yes, foreign men have been killed over this. Let's be blunt without being sensational. Foreign men in the Philippines have been stabbed, shot, ambushed, poisoned, and beaten to death over women, jealousy, property, money, pride, and humiliation, loss of face. Many cases involved a Filipina who was still legally married, a foreigner financially supporting her, and a husband who snapped, alcohol, and easy access to weapons. This is not internet folklore. This is police blotter reality. And no, being a nice guy is never going to protect you in the Philippines. And why is this the most volatile triangle of all? Well, because it combines sex, money, legal ownership, cultural expectations, masculine pride, alcohol, public shame, and community pressure. You are not just dating his wife. In his mind, you are stealing his authority, replacing him publicly, funding his humiliation, and advertising his failure. This mix is exactly how lethal violence is borne out anywhere in the world. The only safe rule, and let me state this as clearly as humanly possible, never cohabit with a Filipina who is still legally married. No excuses. Never fund a life built on separated but not annulled. Never assume you are safe because he has another woman already. If there is no annulment, no finalised legal termination, then there is a legal husband with criminal leverage and potentially lethal emotional motive. And you are standing directly inside the most dangerous triangle a foreigner can ever enter. So, how do you actually protect yourself? If you insist on cohabiting, and most of you probably will, then at least be adult about it. Here's your legal safety tools. Last will and testament, naming your partner and your children. Co-ownership agreement, defining who owns what. A power of attorney for medical and financial experiences, and the affidavit of cohabitation, documentation only, it's not marriage. None of these make you legally married, but they do help stop some of the chaos. Many foreign men in the Philippines are emotionally married, financially married, socially married, spiritually married, but legally single. That is not romantic. That is liability without protection. When it collapses, it doesn't collapse politely. It collapses with lawyers, courts, property seizures, family warfare, damaged children, and broken men learning the law when it's already too late. In summarising, cohabitation is not marriage in the Philippines. Articles 147 and 148 govern your property rights. Children are legally illegitimate unless you are married. Your partner does not automatically inherit anything. Foreigners don't own land. Legal spouses overseas still have power. Married Filipinas are the highest danger scenario of all. And wills and contracts are your only real shield. This video isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up before reality does it for you, expat style. Love your partner, sure. Support your family and build your life in the Philippines properly. But do it with your eyes wide open. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a huge favour because it does help my channel. Like, subscribe and comment below. And perhaps consider becoming a channel member for exclusive discounts, early access to most of my new videos, and soon, a members-only weekly live stream. As always, thank you for watching. Enjoy.